Oh my God, did you guys hear the news? Trump got convicted on 34 felony charges. I know, right? This is probably the first time that you've heard about this in the past couple of days. It's so weird, right? Because within about 40 minutes of me dropping that Robert De Niro mental breakdown video on Thursday, we had the conviction come in, which, to be completely honest, I was a little shocked by, but not entirely surprised. It's New York after all. The jury instructions were absolutely convoluted, and the fact that you had star witness Michael Cohen confess to an even more egregious crime of him stealing $30,000 and nobody caring about it, is like, yeah, it all kind of makes sense, right? But now we are here in the afterglow, and this is kind of what I'm more concerned about, because just the response of all this stuff on all sides in general, it's a little bit more muted than I anticipated. Okay, like, you would think this is a bigger deal, but I don't know, man. Maybe we're at a point in time where everybody's just so resigned to the fact that this was going to happen. Or maybe because the Dems, the establishment, is just so stupidly greedy. This fallout over the past couple of days was also expected, so maybe everything is just happening as anticipated, and well, they decided to do the dumbest thing possible, and now they're paying the repercussions for it. I have the screenshot of this article that has been making the rounds, and I'm trying to figure out, because this is something else that I've been trying to do. Okay, Trump got convicted on all 34 counts. We took a look at some of the jury instructions, and it's like, well, if juror one thinks that Trump committed crime 14, okay, and he can convince 3 other people on the jury that Trump was guilty of crime 14. Is that the one that I said? But not the other 8 jurors. That's fine, as long as another group of people can find another one of the charges viable. Well, then we'll eventually come to a consensus conclusion that Trump did something, I think, maybe, whatever. That's the best that we have out here, because even the people that are out there dancing on TikTok that, oh, they finally got Trump this time, he's going to get thrown into prison. It's like they can't even tell you what the guy was convicted of. This is what's so absurd about this situation. Hence why I kind of think like this is obviously a collaboration of so many insane events. That's why we have such a muted response to this. Like, there's a lot of coverage on it, but there's not a lot of passion, vim, or vigor behind it, at least from the side that thinks, oh, we finally got Trump. Well, let's see. Maybe we'll come to a consensus by the end of the video. CNN, a senior legal analyst, describes how the Trump conviction was a political hit job. Yeah, let's just run that back one more time. CNN senior legal analyst. Yeah, so you even know, man. This is why I think the mainstream media just continuing to just run it down. Oh, Trump's convicted. Trump's convicted. They even know that this really, it's not it. Number 1. The judge donated money in plain violation of a rule prohibiting New York judges from making political donations to a pro-Biden, anti-Trump political operation. Yeah, and also another reason why maybe people aren't so celebratory about this is because they know the moment that this gets appealed by the Supreme Court, which also maybe that warrants its own video. The attacks on Supreme Court justices, maybe that's why they were trying to lay the groundwork that, hey, Clarence Thomas, ooh, Clarence Thomas, all of that saber rattling over the past few, well, I was gonna say months, but years. And then recently there was something about Amy Coney Barrett's husband or something like that. They're already trying to go after the Supreme Court next by saying that, oh, by them overturning this blatantly unconstitutional show trial, oh, democracy failed and there's corruption in the courts. It's like, yeah, we just seen that. Anyways, number 2, Alvin Bragg boasted on the campaign trail in an overwhelmingly Democratic county. It is a fact that I have sued Trump over 100 times. Yeah, he campaigned on that fact. Him, Letitia James, basically everybody in New York. I'm going to go get Trump. And it's like, what are the facts? I'm going to go get him. All right then. Most importantly, the DA's charges against Trump push the outer boundaries of law and due process. A direct quote from CNN senior legal analyst. Yeah, exactly, because these are the charges, right? At least some of them that I know are traditionally misdemeanors, and because Alvin Bragg has this really strange legal theory that it was somehow used in the furtherance of a much more serious crime, whatever that crime is, we don't really know. He can therefore charge it as a felony. It's very strange. The charges against Trump are obscure. There it is. And nearly entirely unprecedented. In fact, no state prosecutor in New York, Wyoming, or anywhere has ever charged federal election laws as a direct or predicate state crime against anyone for anything. None ever. But hey, we're going to go after Trump because I can. Number 5, the DA inflated misdemeanor past the statute of limitations. Yeah, that's another reason why this is just going to get laughed out of an appeals court and electroshock them back to life by alleging the falsification of business records was committed with intent to commit another crime. Hence why he had the felony enhancement applied to some of these crimes that nobody really knows, right? Inexcusably, the DA refused to specify what those unlawful means actually were, but the jury of his peers found him guilty of committing crimes. Cool. And the judge declined to force them to pony up. Yeah, oh, you said that the defendant is guilty. Good enough for me, until right before closing arguments. So much for the constitutional obligation to provide notice to the defendant of the accusations against him in advance of the trial. And that's the thing about opening and closing arguments. They don't necessarily have to rely on the facts. They can't blatantly tell lies, unless, of course, you're in Judge Mercan's courtroom, apparently. That is when a prosecutor or a defense attorney can be at their most storytelling extremes, and because you've got a blatantly anti-Trump district with a bunch of anti-Trump jurors, which there's been multiple breakdowns based on some of the jury questions where it's like, okay, cool, there's one person that pays attention to Fox News and gets their news from Twitter. Everybody else is just mainstream sources. Fighting a battle for sure. Okay, in these respects, rather, the charges against Trump aren't just unusual. They're bespoke, seemingly crafted individual. That's what bespoke means for the former president and nobody else. Now, the Manhattan DA's employees reportedly have called this a zombie case because of various legal infirmities. Yeah, because this is stuff that goes back to like 2013. 2013, for God's sakes. And yeah, you've had multiple DAs look at this case going, there's really nothing here. But hey guys, maybe Alvin Bragg is just this big-brained genius. I mean, he's got so much room in that gigantic head, you'd have to think that there'd be a brain in there to fill up some of the space outside of a bunch of hoagies. But it's better characterized as a Frankenstein case, cobbled together with ill-fitting parts into an ugly, awkward, or more or less functioning contraption that just might ultimately turn on its creator. Yeah, because this one will be interesting, right? And then what's left with the facts? The only actual concrete facts in this case that still remain is that sentencing, which, who knows, right? 34 felonies, he should end up doing 1,000 years in the state pen, right? You would think he'd be doing hard time in Sing Sing or something like that. There's several things that they need to figure out, and I was actually unaware of this because, okay, before this stuff, right? Because we're heading into uncharted territory with the first ever former, current, future president being convicted of a felony. It's like, okay, what do we do with that? Okay, would that normally mean that Secret Service is going to still have to protect the former president and current presidential frontrunner? You would think that he would still have detail, but then you remember old Bennett Thompson, who was a part of, by the way, not just a ranking Democrat on the Homeland Security Committee in the House. He was what, number 2? I think he was the chairman, right? He was the chairman of the January 6th committee. Hilarious, right? Introduced legislation that would remove Secret Service protection from anyone convicted of a felony. So Trump goes to prison, has no Secret Service protection. The idea is to make sure that he gets the Derek Chauvin treatment. Yeah, kind of. Okay, I used to think that this sort of talk was hyperbole, but now I think they would really try to, yes, yeet Trump, which this is where I'm kind of thinking that this goes, right? Because they're trying to rile up. They're talking about the Democrats here real quick. And given the fact that this is only legislation introduced to the House, it's like, how could you pass that at any point in time unless it's a part of some big omnibus to send billions of your taxpayer dollars across to these foreign forever wars, which is highly possible. trying to figure out what they're going to do with Trump. It's like, you can't put him in, you know, Gen Pop. That's just, for a person of his stature and celebrity, even when celebrities do go down, they don't go into general population, okay? And there's nobody on the face of the earth more popular than Trump. I really think that that's the case. If he's not, he's in the top 3, and I don't even know who the other 2 would be. He would have to be in a certain type of solitary confinement, but to keep a guy in there for supposed white-collar crimes in solitary, that could be a violation of the Constitution. But hey, we just went through an entire trial which was a violation of the Constitution. So it's always been under the assumption that, okay, if he was convicted of any of these goofy-ass quote-unquote crimes, I don't know, his sentence would end up being served on house arrest, probation. We'll have to see, right? Because sentencing comes down July 11th. July 11th. What happens? What happens a couple days later? Oh yeah, right. July 14th. The RNC starts up, which is very interesting, right? Because to just circle back to the end statement in this tweet right here, if all of this lawfare doesn't ultimately end up working, and if the RNC doesn't try to pull a fast one on the 14th, which would be that would be party suicide. If they just decided to go, yeah, Trump's not going to be our guy anymore, and we're going to go with Nikki Haley. You might as well just, you know, fold it up and go see if there's any room in the retirement home right next to the Whig Party. But as stupid and overzealous as the Democrats are, I don't think the Republicans are quite that dumb, because in getting to some of the response from the Republicans that are out there, I mean, this is a tale of 2 halves, but I think Razor Fist ended up summing it up best, okay? In light of all of these convictions, hell, I'll just end up pulling it up right here because it's very funny. I've seen these 2 tweets right there on the timeline, so I just captured the screenshot of it. Now, Republicans, brandish your ballpoint pens. You have oodles of sternly worded letters to write and fruitless House committee hearings to convene. Yeah, exactly, because this is basically all that's going to happen, because you know the Republicans, and then you got Tim Pool under there. Oh, it's war. It's going to be war. It's like, no, it's not. Shut up. The beanie on too tight, okay? There's no war to be had. There's just memes to be flung around on the internet and tepid takes like college Republicans. Today's convictions are a result of the politically motivated persecution. But a verdict has been handed down by jurors whose decisions were made in accordance with our criminal justice system, which is that the lie detector test determined that was a lie. As such, the outcome of this trial should be respected, guys, okay? We need to adhere to our principles as Republicans. We need to lose with dignity, just like the decision of voters on November 5th. Fuck right off, because if you think either side is gonna go ahead and accept the results of this upcoming election, you've got a fucking box of screw looses. Holy shit, are you out of touch with reality? But just looking at that ratio, and even looking at the otherwise imbecilic commenters underneath this, like Matt Walsh, counterpoint, the outcome of this trial should be mocked, condemned, and scorned. Yeah, and it should be used as a rallying cry. Because no, I don't want to see idiots like Tim Pool out there Fed posting, okay? But I also don't want to see complacency like, well, you know what, the courts did level their decision, guys, and we better just play by the rules because your opponent's fighting dirty, and they have for a very long time. And now people are starting to wake up, okay? Because the Democrats think that they got this big dunk because they've been brain rotted by years and years of Trump derangement syndrome. They're out there trying to think that this is going to end up reflecting badly on Trump. Like, he's been the outsider president since 2016. By calling him, trying to get the whole convicted felon moniker to stick, you're only appealing to his base more. And as people see that this was an absolute sham trial, this is only going to boost Trump. I'll be interested to see, because we'll probably get polls coming out, you know, maybe over the weekend, but I'll wait a little bit, you know, to the beginning of the week just to see what this ultimately does to Trump. Maybe it drops him a couple of points, but then it's just going to end up precipitously rebounding when people start to actually get something approximating the truth off of this. But that's just an if. I kind of think that this only benefits Trump, because you know what this does? It galvanizes his base hardcore. I mean, just look at this, okay? Google search terms, okay? Right after the verdict was released, how do I donate to Trump? Most popular search online. Even beat up boobs. Boobs on the internet aren't as popular as donating to Trump. I mean, the most common sentiment I'm seeing from people out there is they want to rock with this guy harder than ever. Shout out Andrew Tate. I'm donating $200,000 to my... Sir, I do believe he has Germanic origins. Okay. But just with that tweet, that perfectly encapsulates people's opinions on Trump. Okay. So that's why it's so stupid for the Democrats that try to label him a convicted felon, because he only comes off as cooler in the aftermath. Because, yeah, you had the New York Times, Donald Trump is found guilty on all 34 counts of his Manhattan trial, making him the first former president to become a felon. The AP, Donald Trump, the first former president to be convicted of felony crimes Thursday. Which ones exactly? Yeah, falsifying business records. Ooh, wow. Breaking, Donald Trump is now a convicted felon. Rolling Stone. And ends Jake Tapper on air, the former president of the United States, is now a convicted felon. Adam Schiff. First, a court found Donald Trump to be an abuser. He was then found to be a fraudulent business owner. Now Donald J. Trump is a convicted felon. All are an affirmation of the rule of law. That's hilarious. You want to go ahead and cite that E. Jean Carroll verdict first and foremost? That's fantastic. And Trump's unfit for office. Yeah, that's going to be hilarious, right? It's going to be hilarious when he wins in November. And then J.P. Pritzker. Oh, okay, cool. The governor of Illinois. Donald Trump is a racist, homophobe, a grifter, and a threat to this country. He can now add one more title to his list. A felon. Yeah, somebody who's presiding over a state that is only trailing California when it comes to economic collapse. Yeah, I think you got bigger things to concern yourself with there, Pritzker, and I'm not just talking about your waistline. Oh, one of the Krasenstein midgets breaking the verdict is in. Like, those dudes are 5'5". There's been pictures circulating of them, and they look like little kickables. It's very cute that they talk such a big game because, you know, they can't back it up. Guilty on all accounts. Trump is officially a convicted felon. You are either now planning to vote for a convicted felon or a pedo. Donald Trump is a convicted felon. Oh, Eric's Ling Ling Swalwell. The verdict is not a win for any single person. It's a win for an idea. I don't think it's that idea that you think it is. Republicans against Trump. Oh, it's good that the Lincoln Project rebranded. This is a disgrace. It's a rigged trial. We didn't do anything wrong. I'm a very innocent man. Convicted felon, Donald Trump says. And then Adam Kinzinger. Today's guilty verdict is absolutely correct, and nobody is above the law. Nobody is above the law. Is that going to be the rejoinder going forward? Is that something that we can look forward to good old goofy ass Joe Biden to resuscitate and regurgitate with his dementia-riddled mind at that CNN debate at the end of the month? I'm looking forward to that, but when it comes to actual action, I think Cat Turd has a pretty decent view of this stuff. Dear Republican Party, yes, I don't want to hear another damn word about Ukraine, Israel, Gaza, Taiwan, or any other country except the United States. You are America last war pigs. Well, yeah, exactly. The Fascist Democrat Party has completely destroyed our country from within. We have a wide open border, and they're shitting on the Constitution while you spineless, coward losers get rich on insider trading, rage tweets, and talk about your principles. They're literally arresting the political opponents, and their lawyers are having kangaroo communist show trials. And you pitiful, worthless losers are doing absolutely nothing. If you don't have the balls to fight for your freedom, resign. Exactly, because that's what the GOP should be doing right now, focusing on the problems at home. Stop sending money around the world. Stop funding actual terrorists. That would be great, and that would definitely be a nice change of pace. Are they going to? Nah, man, of course not. GOP is going to GOP because that's what the GOP does. All the while, Biden just smirks and shows you why. Of the two leading candidates, who is actually fit for office. Let's play this clip real quick.
Mr. President, can you tell us, sir, Donald Trump refers to himself as a political prisoner and blames you directly. What's your response to that, sir? Do you think the conviction will have an impact on the campaign? We'd love to hear your thoughts, sir.
Should he be on the ballot, sir?
The fact that he couldn't even muster a single word and he could only do his creepy Biden smile. You want to talk about a convicted felon being disqualified for serving for office? I'm just going to go ahead and say, it's like, even with all of the crimes from his son's laptop, every dumb thing that he's done in the Senate, his previous 40 years in public office, if that's not disqualifying in and of itself, what he's done in Ukraine, and I'm not even talking about the current conflict, Viktor Shokin, for those of you who would like some additional homework. You'll be interested. It'll be very interesting when he has nowhere else to go on that debate stage, and it'll be very obvious for the public, who are definitely going to turn out in droves to watch this stuff, what's going to be the big takeaway. But we're actually going to get a preview of this, and this right here could end up being one of the biggest things that we see online during this election season. Elon Musk's X to stage a town hall with Donald Trump. This is going to be crazy, man. Okay, Elon Musk's social media platform X will stage a town hall with former President Donald Trump. Okay, the presumptive Republican nominee for president, as long as the RNC doesn't do something stupid on the 14th, who was convicted Thursday in connection with a hush money payment to, yes, Stormy Daniels, will answer submitted questions during the live stream event, which will also be broadcast. The partnership deal with cable channel News Nation. Interesting, right? When is this actually going to happen? And yeah, Elon Musk is going to be in it. That's like two of the most famous people. Maybe Elon Musk is also up on that echelon, but Trump is. I mean, they made mention of the RFK Jr. town hall that happened, and then there was the Ron DeSantis announcement, I will be running for president. Strange how there wasn't a town hall when he announced that he was going to be folding his presidential campaign, but oh well, let's not let bygones be bygones, and also Rands can just, you know, fade into obscurity. President Biden was invited by the social media company to do a debate or a town hall, but he's too busy, still wandering and trying to find the edge of the stage. A date, location, and moderators for the town hall has yet to be announced. X-users will submit questions for the moderators. We'll have final say over what's asked. The moderator will likely include at least one News Nation host alongside other journalists, Axios reported. Yes, Trump, who famously steamrolled CNN's Caitlin Collins, ended her stupid career during a town hall last year, has the first of his two debates against Biden slated for June 27th. Yeah, so I don't know. I'd imagine that this probably happens beforehand. I'd imagine it probably happens in the next couple of weeks, but who really knows? And I'm definitely going to be looking forward to this, because it's probably going to be the biggest platform that Trump is going to have alongside somebody else who has quite possibly the biggest platform and has the second largest sway amongst people in the world in Elon Musk. Like, it's a dream confluence of events, and something that I think is going to be shaking the establishment to its core. So yeah, well, as goofy, busted, and broken as that decision that came down on Thursday is, I think the only thing that it does is end up securing Trump election victory in November, and exposes the reasons why people hate the government, hate the corruption that's there, and shows them that if they really want to see a change, well, there's one obvious choice. And that now we've hit that Rubicon where now, it's really now or never. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.